This next interview will absolutely blow your mind. Please follow me into this documentary journey of unique individuals and their testimonies of themselves. Testimony, you.
Years, and I'm still alive. And the streets are tough, man. I got an education on the streets. I've been beat down, I've been robbed, I've robbed people, um, I've boosted, you know. It's not like I was an innocent victim. I mean, I did my dirt too. Since I've come back to New York State, my home state, I am closer to my family. I don't do that anymore. I try to stay in one place. I still have the addiction problem. I'm still fighting that. But I don't move around from place to place or job to job anymore. I don't go to jail anymore. I don't boost anymore. I don't get arrested anymore. I haven't been in jail in over 4 years. And for me, that's a record. I never went 4 years without going to jail. I usually went to jail several times a year. Shoplifting, panhandling, just all kinds of shit. Getting drunk and getting in a fight in a bar. It was rough. And I used to wonder, people would ask me when I would go to the VA hospitals, and counselors and doctors would ask me, Dale, why do you do this to yourself? One time a doctor said to me, you're a mean man, you hate yourself, don't you? You abuse yourself. And I always consider myself to be a pretty decent person, man. I don't fuck with nobody, I don't beat nobody. I'm true to my friends. Unfortunately, I don't have many friends. I'm a loner. I don't really. I need people, but I don't really need people that much the way other people do. I prefer to be alone. Sometimes maybe I find a lady friend that I can kick it with, and that makes me happy. But I'm not stressing on it. And some people say that's one of the things that's killing me, being alone too much. Tell me I need to be around other people and learn how to live like other people, socialize, and learn how to live life. And that's something that I never learned. I never learned how to live life. I know how to work. I know how to do the basic things. I know how to survive. But I never learned how to live. And that's my problem. My problem is that I'm 48 years old and I never learned how to live life, to enjoy life. I could go on and on about all the different situations that I've been in, but whoever's listening to this tape or watching this tape, I'm sure you've heard it before. I try to stay out of the past because the past is not good. So I try to stay in the present as much as I can. I look forward to the future. Where I would like to be, the thing that I would like to do most right now is to get clean and sober. I want to stop drinking. I want to stop using drugs. That's what I want to do more than anything else right now. I want to go back to work, before it's too late, before I get so old that I can't work anymore. I like to find a wife, too old to have kids, so I guess that'll never happen. But I'd like to find a wife, somebody I can settle down with, and just live life like other people. I'm tired of stressing and fiending and being angry and, being paranoid and worrying about this person or worrying about that person, what they're trying to do to me, and I live my life that way all the time, full of suspicion and anger and hatred. And I'm trying to get that anger and hatred out of my life. It's hard. It's hard. It's hard for a leopard to change his spots. And I know it's going to be hard for me to change my spots. It's going to be very difficult. And to be honest, I don't know how I'm going to do it, but that's where my belief in God comes in. I just trust God that it's going to happen. Somewhere along the line, I'm going to have to find the strength. I'm going to have to get over my anger and self-pity, get over my childhood. Um, Somehow I'm going to have to do it. I have my family backing me up. It's funny that the people that abuse me, it seems strange, my parents abused me, but they're the people I love the most. I grew up, it's kind of difficult for a black child if you're raised around white people, because then when you get with your own people, you don't know how to act, and maybe they won't accept you. And so I kind of grew up not accepted by either race. I wasn't accepted by white people, and I wasn't accepted by black people either. So I grew up, I was very bitter. And as I got older, I started coming into contact with racism. And that made me even more bitter, and I developed a distrust for white people and an anger at black people. So what's left, that left me alone. And that anger developed into hatred. And I think that sometimes when I would get violent, get drunk and get violent, get in a fight or something like that, that was that anger coming out. I just didn't realize it at the time because I was too young to understand. But I've gotten over that now. At one point, I think I almost became a racist myself. I was angry at white people. I was angry at Asians. I didn't like the way I was being treated. I hated to walk into a Korean store and hand them the money, and then they make you put it on the counter so they don't have to touch your hand. And that just built up even more hatred in me. And I don't know if I was a racist, but I was pretty close to it. Particularly out on the West Coast. You got skinheads and you got white supremacists. They hate you. The Asians hate you. The Mexicans hate you. I began to hate them. After a while, you know what I said? Fuck everybody. White, black, Mexican, Asian, fuck them all. And that was my attitude. And I would associate with any group. I didn't care who it was. Black, white, whatever. And if I liked a person, I liked him. If I didn't like him, I didn't like him. And that's how I tried to live my life. Because I felt like if I'm not going to be accepted by any of these people, then fuck them. I'll just be my own man. And that's what I was. And sometimes if you knew me, you might see me hanging out with some brothers. The next time you see me, I might be hanging out with some white dudes. The next time you see me, I might be hanging out with Mexicans, Hispanics. And then the next time you see me, I might be drinking with some Indians. That's the way I was. I didn't have any loyalty to any particular group, And that's how I learned how to get along. And that's how I found a little bit of acceptance, because I found good people in every race. Lots of